It is September 11th, and today the annual solemn remembrance ceremony was held at Ground Zero in Lower Manhattan to mark 23 years since the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. This is a live scene tonight, the tribute of light shining into the sky. It has become a symbol for how New Yorkers remember the city's resilience after the attacks.
It was on this day in 2001 that nearly 3,000 people lost their lives when terrorists crashed 4 planes into the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and a field in southwest Pennsylvania. There were moments of silence followed by the reading of the names of those who died. President Biden, Vice President Harris, former President Trump, and Senator J.D. Vance attended the ceremony.
Remembrances were also held here in Northeast Ohio.
3 News reporter Bryant McCrae joins us now live from Edgewater Park with how this day continues to be cemented in history. Bryant.
Well, good evening, Russ and Lena. Right now, I'm surrounded by more than 500 flags placed here by nearly 60 volunteers, all hoping that when people walk by, they'll remember a day so many have sworn never to forget.
From 23 years ago, it's an image all too hard to watch. New York's Twin Towers falling after a terrorist attack. Many Americans remembering exactly where they were the moment the planes hit.
Being in school and seeing what was happening on TV and running straight home to be like, what in the world just happened?
Wednesday, Sharice Bailey and her 3-year-old daughter walked through hundreds of American flags in Edgewater Park to honor and remember the men and women who serve in uniform.
I wanted to share this. She may not understand, but I want her to still have a sense of like pride and hope and community.
The flags also represent the unsung champions we see every day.
Teachers, coaches, healthcare professionals, police officers, firefighters, first responders.
James Long with the FBI Citizen Academy says the organization has been putting this display on for the past 5 years, saying it's a small act for indescribable sacrifice.
We're losing more people every day, so I think we can never lose sight of that.
And that's exactly what these runners in Edgewater Park are doing to keep the memory of those lost alive.
It's a little suffering for us, but we get to go home tonight. So no matter how much it hurts, you know, it's nothing compared to what they went through that day.
Chris Lassen has been a firefighter for more than 30 years, serving with the Lorraine Fire Department for most of them. He says the firefighters during 9/11 are some of our nation's bravest heroes.
They knew what they were doing that day, and they knew they probably weren't going home, but that's, 100% dedication.
Now Lassen, along with hundreds of others, run a 5K to remember a day taken from America.
We'll remember forever. I'll do this until I can.
Now, Lena, these flags will be here until Sunday, September 15th. Back to you all in the studio.
Something for sure, worth visiting for sure. Thanks so much. Bryant McCrae reporting live from Edgewater Park.
One of our own here at 3 News has a connection to 9/11. Lydia Esparra's husband, a retired Secret Service agent, dug through the rubble as a first responder. And like so many others, the smoke from that rubble affected his health. Lydia has his story.
The World Trade Center complex is more than just Towers 1 and 2. The World Trade Center complex was a series of buildings that were all in that area.
And it's in that area where retired Secret Service agent Greg Truhan, my husband, was assigned to. Here he dug through the rubble at Ground Zero for 3 weeks.
Honestly, I thought it was on a movie set. It looked like a movie set, and you're just looking around and just total destruction. Nothing is recognizable.
But he did recognize bolts from the buildings and granite that once adorned the beautiful towers. Greg also recognized the danger floating around him.
I remember looking up and seeing all the stuff in the air floating around, and it was so bad.
Even though respirators, gloves, hazmat suits were on hand, years later, that stuff in the air, toxins and jet fuel, affected the first responders.
I remember getting a call from the World Trade Center monitoring program, and they said, we're going to certify your cancer as a proximate cause of working at Ground Zero.
Greg got testicular cancer. Like hundreds of first responders, they too would receive cancer diagnosis. Greg has been cancer-free for 10 years. I once asked him if he regretted being in Ground Zero, and his answer surprised me.
That's what you sign up for, that's what you're trained for, and that's what we do.
Lydia Esparra, 3 News.
You may have seen Greg as a valued contributor here at Channel 3. He's also a professor at Lakeland Community College, and every year he shares his story with students so they know and never forget.